Hello, 6th and 7th grade. Welcome back to Bible. We are continuing talking about making right decisions. Today we are going to be talking about, to start with, the character of a person. A person's character is defined by the decisions they make. Now, most people really don't know how to make a decision. They simply do what comes natural to them. I know that we're all guilty of this. We don't make a decision. Just, that's what we naturally do. I don't know, I've never thought about it. I just naturally do it. Well, that's because we don't make a decision about it. Every day, our lives are presented with situations in which a decision must be made or should be made. Usually, these decisions are insignificant, but we need to learn to choose correctly in the small things so that we will be well prepared for the really important decisions that come as they come along. With this in mind, we should realize that there are really no small or insignificant decisions because every situation builds for the future. When you become an adult, you will want to have a meaningful life and be a responsible, decisive person. You are in the process of learning to become such a person. But being a mature person does not happen in a day or at a certain birthday. I'll be mature. No. Being mature means taking responsibility for the decisions that we make. The sign of maturity is when you take responsibility for the decisions that you make on your own. The decisions that you have made. Today in your workbook pages, we're looking at the life of Daniel and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Daniel, we can see him as a young man. He's taken away from his home and family to a strange land, to Babylon. And he's there with his friends, thankfully. He knows, okay? But they are 4 godly young men. And they help each other obey God. That friendship and accountability is there. But before they could help each other, they had to come to a decision in their own individual lives. To understand the decision Daniel made, we look from the beginning. We read Daniel 1:8. And you can go ahead and read that and answer the question there. What does it mean that Daniel determined not to defile himself? Daniel made the decision for himself. Okay? He made that decision. And each of them, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, all three of them, and Daniel, each had to determine within themselves that they were not going to defile themselves with the king's food. And so it's an individual decision. It wasn't a group decision that they made. But once they had made the individual decision, each of them, then they could hold each other accountable as a group. Okay? In this situation, Daniel decides not to eat the king's food or drink the king's wine because it was not what the Lord wanted him to eat and drink. And later, Daniel's 3 friends had to take a stand as well. And they decided not to bow down to the king's golden image. So Daniel decides that he's not going to be defiled, and so do Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now you have to understand, it wasn't. There were 2 separate situations. Daniel had to decide that he was not going to eat the king's food. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego also decided that same decision. Then later, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are faced with the choice on whether or not they bow down to the king's golden image. And so they're 2 separate situations where they had to make a decision for themselves, individually. But then as a group could come together and hold each other accountable, encourage each other, and face the situation together. So now think about yourself. You live in a different world than Daniel and his friends. But in your world today, there are things that are wrong for your body and things that would be not right for a Christian to do. What are some things that God would have you make up your mind right now not to do? Answer that question. Each of us is going to have our own answers to that. So answer it for yourself. What decision will you make? Deciding what the right decision is for you as a Christian and what God would want you to make that decision. That's the question we're looking at today. So you can continue on and do deciding to stand for right. This is the story of Daniel in the lion's den. And in Daniel chapter 6, this is Daniel on his own. Now this time he doesn't have a group of friends with him. This is Daniel on his own, making the decision to stand for the right thing. We can make the decision to stay away from evil, and we can make the decision to stand for what's right. Those are the two choices that we have. All right, so complete the workbook, and we'll see you tomorrow.